Opie and Anthony Show on Sirius XM. Sirius XM. The Opie and Anthony Show.
We're not doing the double read again.
No. It's a one-off.
That counts, is what I'm saying.
It does.
I know Steven Singer would have no problem with us doing 2 live reads at one time.
Exactly.
You really take advantage of his good hospitality.
Well, you got it, Sam. People will take advantage of you.
Yeah. You got to take advantage of them first.
Mm-hmm.
Literally,
the world we live in.
In this show, you've complained about the sales department not being able to get you sponsors.
Let me ask you this, Sam. What were the 2 reads we had that we did at the same time?
Profilers and Steven Singer.
There you go. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows.
Yeah, but they don't know what you said.
People were saying,
No,
they
they
do. Because people, I read some tweets. People were like, it makes me want to go out and buy flowers and jewelry right now.
One guy tweeted me, said, I'm just buying 2 of everything.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
See? We should do all the reads like
We're going to, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we do now. Ted Nugent was on Piers Morgan.
Uncle Ted.
I wanted to stay up for this, but I went... Well, I did stay up, but I went to meditation instead of seeing Ted Nugent on Piers Morgan.
I was listening to something online at the time and didn't feel like switching over because I was captivated by what I was listening to.
What?
It was something off of a certain website.
Oh, Jesus.
I might
Searching out that hate. What are you doing?
No, it wasn't. It's actually some knowledge. It was it was an hour long, some guy giving a little presentation about eugenics.
Oh,
and the bell curve.
You watch your videos about eugenics?
Yeah.
You hated school.
What? Yeah.
Who's the guy that told you that you could fuck with statistics, Opie?
Anthony.
Oh.
He taught me a lot about stats over the years.
Some things are just
They're
there.
not what they seem.
Some things are just there. And when I see people equating IQ on a global level, it was called the global bell curve. And it's a global level of IQ between Asia, Europe, the Americas, and Africa.
Who had the lowest? If you remember, I don't know.
No spoilers here, Sam. You're going to watch it yourself.
Wait, the lowest ass?
Could be Europe. Oh, no, it could be Asia.
I'm just saying
That's
the
Asia.
lowest ass. What are we trying to figure out here? The lowest what?
IQ.
I just thought universally eugenics was
the lowest hanging.
Not something that was like a legitimate thing.
It would be very hard to implement.
Yeah.
But there's some logic in why you would want to have eugenics. But it's, there's negative and positive eugenics. There's a lot going on with eugenics.
You got to get it deep into it.
Yeah. I'm into that.
Look at every side.
Let's look at all sides.
Okay.
Why can't I just watch some kind of a presentation on all sides? Things that aren't very popular, things that are very popular.
You spent an hour on that?
It was an hour long. It was an hour long speech he was giving.
God bless you.
I don't think nature looks at intelligence the same way we do. Like, I think intelligence, according to nature, is probably your ability to survive and reproduce in the environment you're in. I think and I think that what would separate the IQ, if you look at evolution, on an evolutionary scale, is probably very brief. Like, for us, it sounds like, well, there's a 20-point IQ or whatever it would be. But on the grand scheme of things, it's absolutely, it's a cunt error.
Well, IQ is usually your ability to problem solve. It has nothing to do with knowledge. It doesn't have anything to do with your what you've learned. It's your ability to learn, and then to use what you've learned to advance yourself. It's also a certain there's a morality aspect to things. If you are, if you're a moral person, if you have the ability to recognize right from wrong and consequence, this all comes into play in the umbrella of intelligence.
But it could also be, couldn't it be, that the morality thing is like you know, the quote-unquote, it's just your ability to wash away your own sins, or a person's own sins, by justifying what they've done so they don't look immoral compared to what somebody else has done where they look immoral because they're more blunt and to the point about it.
Jimmy, I think morality, there is a sort of vagueness to just the word morality. But there is an absolute accepted notion that certain things are just morally wrong. And that is where...
What is one of them?
One of them, depriving somebody of their life without any reason whatsoever, without any thought of consequence, without any thought of, without having any empathy for of a person. That universally, now there of course are going to be exceptions, but on the vast majority, people identify that that is wrong.
So are we an immoral country because we've dropped 2 atomic bombs, or because we've you know, again, we try to not kill women and children?
And I do believe that there was if we don't do that, there could be more people that are getting killed. More people were killed in 3 days of bombing Tokyo than both Nagasaki and Hiroshima. In order to avoid more of that necessary killing, because the Japanese decided they didn't want to stop fighting, even though they had lost the war for a good year before that, a decision was made to drop 2 atomic bombs.
Sure.
You know,
that's our reason.
That's our reason.
Justifies what we did.
Exactly.
So, what action are you talking about that isn't, like, if you're talking about like the raping or the barbarism of women and the fucking, their argument would probably be, we don't have weapons to do that, so it completely demoralizes the enemy and help wins the overall war.
Well, even that could be looked at as a gray area, but a reason. I'm talking the inability to feel any type of compassion or guilt or empathy for a person.
The Enola Gay pilot did not feel any guilt. And again, I know that they weren't just killing enemy. They knew that they were probably killing. And I agree with the dropping of the bomb, by the way. But they knew they were killing a tremendous amount of innocent women and children and non-combatant old people. But they weighed the options and they said, this is the lesser of the evils.
Right.
So how is that morally better? Because there's a detachment. Then like, how can you say they have these people in Africa who do this that have no feelings for it?
That's universally immoral, regardless of the circumstance, to drop atomic bombs on people. You're saying that's
on innocent people, not on guilty people, on innocent people. Sure.
Well, there were some war factories in Hiroshima and Nagasaki there, and to stop the war and stop the killing, and stop the need for an invasion.
Yeah, but it did kill a lot of people.
But the whole war did.
It deprived them of their life.
Mm-hmm. And again, they bombed us first. Sure. And it was considered a moral thing to do as a free country to combat and destroy an aggressive, tyrannical government.
But I agree with you. But the point I'm making is, like, but if you talk to somebody in one of these tribes that does this, they would be able to justify their reasons as much. Ours just looks cleaner, but they would be able to justify what they think because they're not running around thinking, I'm a fucking horrible person doing this. They're looking at it like, this is what we do.
Well, then sometimes the ability to justify it in your own head is that area of immorality. To be able to justify that instead of replacing it with a reason, with it's an illogical reasoning.
Sure, we all have it. Every nation who's done something has had that. Because we all think we're in the right. Nobody thinks they're in the wrong.
Yeah,
nobody.
But I think giving it up for a vote between civilized people, you could then distinguish what is kind of morally right and what is morally wrong. I think.
I think so.
And if you're going to say, well, what base it on that? Well, you got to base it on humanity. You got to base it on, who's to say? Well, the populace of the world is to say really how they feel about what is genuinely right and what is genuinely wrong.
But can you take, I agree, but can you take somebody's opinion seriously if they've done immoral things and all they're doing is justifying their immorality, but condemning, like almost.
But you can tell, and the majority of people can tell when it's morality being justified and when it's genuine morality. Like, I think that's where our gauge has to be, is in the popular consensus. And when you look at something immoral, you know it's immoral regardless of how they're justifying it. When you look at something else that might look immoral, but there's justification, you have to look at who's saying it would be justified.
But doesn't our morality kind of come and go? Like, we say we're for democracy, but we support plenty of dictators.
Look, I ain't saying America is the most moral fucking country and people, and we aren't without our fucking foibles when it comes to being immoral fucks.
Right.
But I will say that there are some cultures, some peoples, some countries and continents that are less moral than others based on a psychological predetermination.
See, that I don't know about.
I do.
I don't know about a psychological predetermination.
I do.
Because that automatically makes person in one place feel like I'm just better than that person is there.
The proof is in the history. The proof is in history. I really do accept that theory that based on where you're from, your genetics, where you came from, based on people, that there is a difference. Why does there have to be why do we celebrate diversity only when it's good stuff? Like, why can't anyone accept the fact that there might be groups of people around the globe that are just smarter than others, and then other groups that are stronger than others? It goes in the animal kingdom. It's universal like that. There are certain animals that are predators, certain that are prey, certain predators that are very good at being predators because they have speed, other ones because they have cunning. Others, but for some reason, humans have to be told that we are all completely equal and the same, and it's only based on how we're brought up and what we're educated with, instead of saying that there is a basic mold that we come from as individuals from certain places that give us certain advantages and certain disadvantages.
But when you look, you're right about the predator and the prey in animals. Mm-hmm. But lions acknowledge that they're predators.
Right.
They don't behave like a predator and behave like a lion, and then all of a sudden not like the other animals, condemning them and pretend they're not lions. You understand what I'm saying? They don't bullshit about who they are. And the PC nonsense that everyone is the same, I agree, it's crap.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm not saying that for politically correct reasons, like, oh, now, I just don't necessarily buy the argument because there's way too many factors that are uneven. Like, if all things being equal, if the results were exactly the same, that's one thing. But I don't see that happening. And when you talk about morality, there's very few countries where their citizens can truly claim it. Like who's? A few countries who have really stayed out of it. Mm-hmm. But it's easy to say, like whoever did that speech. I didn't see it. I literally don't know. I'm guessing. But I'm guessing. I don't even care. Because I don't want to know. Just because I'm guessing that the person who made that speech is in the group that he considers to be near the top of the heap, if not the top of the heap. Of course. So to me, it's a self-serving argument. But if that guy was naked or wearing a loincloth in that other environment, he would not survive. So nature, he wouldn't survive as well as other people who are used to that. So all of his quote-unquote, like, brilliance and morality wouldn't save him, if that makes any sense.
Well, not...
Nature gives you what you need to survive.
Yeah, but as a human, as an intelligent human, you also have the ability to adapt and use your intelligence, not only just what you've learned, but your ability to reason and figure to help you survive in certain circumstances, to advance the civilization. to advance civilization. I see some peoples on this earth that are much better at it than others. And it's not something that, I mean, I don't know why it's so taboo to talk about. I do genuinely believe that there is a set parameter for different people. I think you're starting off at a certain base. Whether you can transcend that or not is very individualistic. But on the whole, I do believe there are certain peoples that are more advanced than others from the beginning, at the get-go.
But see, the thing, this is where my issue is. It's what one group considers advancement, or what it all comes down. What we consider advancement, another group, their idea of it might not help them survive. That might not help them survive. And the group saying, well, we're moral, and this is our morality, and this is our intelligence, which gives us the ability to differentiate between right and wrong, and it gives us are just as immoral and have done just as many awful things, but done it from a distance. So that's my point. It's kind of a stacked argument. It's not like both people are, the guy saying I'm moral is a part of a system that has behaved horribly.
Well, true. Yes, of course. There are exceptions.
But then why is he not, why does that not make him immoral? If he's living as the result of a country, and again, I love this country, but I try to be honest about it. Mm-hmm. We see how full of shit we are.
Yes.
When it comes to stuff like that radio story.
Absolutely.
On a basic example. So is that moral? We just lie? The whole fucking country, we love the fake apology. We live under a lie that, hey, I'm okay, you're okay.
Right.
We're okay. It's like, where's the morality in that? At least in Africa, they're like, I don't like you. Give me a clit. There's a brutal honesty to that. There's a lot more honest interaction there, regardless of how violent it is, which, of course, I'd prefer to be here.
Well, the phones are obviously lit. Jay in Cleveland. Jay, go ahead.
Hey, Anthony, I just want to get this straight as a black guy. Are you saying that whites have a different moral code than Africans or African Americans, or how are you exactly stating this? Because I missed part of the conversation while I was on hold.
No, I'm just saying, based on what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard on various interviews and presentations and whatnot, I do see some moral conundrums going on in the communities that, let's just say, aren't very European.
Hold on. Let's just keep this straight here.
Uh-huh.
You might as well just say, just in the hood, especially like what happened last week with that mall video.
Uh-huh.
The whole problem I have with it is not because dudes shocked her. It's not because of her, the way she popped off, even though she deserved to get it.
Yes.
It's everybody else that stood around, let her say what she wanted to say, and didn't say shit until after she got popped. And I was watching other videos where no one else said anything either with that. That's the problem. I understand some of that does go on. But
that's the human condition, by the way, sir. So not to interrupt you, but that's with any group. It's a really weird thing how a group will watch interactions between two people and not step in to help. That's a really weird thing that all groups have to deal with.
You're absolutely right, Jimmy. But I also think Anthony, I'm not saying that you're not smart, and I'm not saying that you're not informed, but I think you look at a lot of stuff, and it's a moral conundrum with me being a big fan of the show.
Ooh.
I think you look at a lot of stuff online, you read up and you get statistics, and you're informed, but there's a difference. I don't think you interact enough, and I've called up about this before, interact enough with African Americans.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. I think you really I think you miss something by not having that interaction.
I agree. I told you I wanted to do something where Anthony goes to all these fun black places and hangs out with black people. I think that'd be so interesting because he's so much more like these guys than he thinks. Anthony is like
loves me.
He loves you. Because Anthony is like they like the same shit.
My question is simple. Why do you search all this stuff out all the time?
I searched that
You search out it more than the average person.
But I also watched another one that was like 40 minutes long last night of a black guy disputing that whole theory. He was some English guy, and he had a great argument. But weighing things out and looking at history and just current events, and by current I mean, the past 500, 800 years,
But there's one thing of looking at, you're basically, what I'm trying to say is, the way I see it is, you're trying to learn how to shoot a gun, but never picking up a gun, but just reading in the book and reading other people's accounts of shooting guns.
I can't, wait. It's silly to think, but I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. It's silly to think that I can get information globally, a global look at things based on a few interactions locally with people. That's as bad as saying I'm prejudging. If I make a judgment based on just a couple of people that I hang out with, that's a silly thing instead of basing it on research that has been global. And have a much longer history than just even my lifetime.
But no group this is what bothers me, no group ever judges their own faults as harshly. That's why these are all skewed, because if you talk to Africans, there's not one group in Africa that will look at the barbarism of what they do and say, oh yeah, that really is terrible compared to this.
IQ levels are what, variable? Things like the fact that higher fertility rates amongst lesser educated people, people that not even educated, lower IQ people have higher fertility rates. Higher IQ people have less children.
Right.
This is something that's a fact. This isn't something that you just kind of wonder about or it's a gray area. That's a fucking fact. The fact of the matter is European people are not replacing themselves at a fast enough rate to keep them to keep populating their areas.
So is that smart? According to nature, that's dumb. According to nature, populating yourself is the smart way to go. According to nature, that's what you should be doing.
Not necessarily. The quality of a person doesn't necessarily have to mean that you need a quantity of people.
No, but if you're losing numbers, if you're losing numbers.
Well, most of the people that are very intelligent realize that they want to they want to have a career, they want to do things, they want to have time with their own lives to make something of themselves.
But that goes,
as opposed to
that goes against nature, certainly.
Spitting people out.
I understand Jimmy's point on that. That completely goes against nature.
Yeah, that's our idea of comfort.
Perhaps.
Sure. I'm glad I'm here. Believe me, I'd much rather live here. I just mean that nobody judges their own. Like whoever is criticizing the African, the Sudan and all the slavery. You're right. It's fucking horrible. But I just want to hear the same, and I mean honesty, not just lip service, but the same honest, harsh criticism. Behaviors of whatever group they belong to. Like, not just saying, oh, yeah, that was bad, but really saying, wow, when those bombs were dropped, and again, I'll say it, I was glad they were dropped.
Yeah.
They killed a lot of innocent people knowingly and made the decision, fuck them, the good in the end outweighs this. They were just able to do it in a detached way. But maybe people who are over there killing and beheading and cutting off arms say the greater good will outweigh these acts of fucking awful.
Well, look what goes on in the African American community. A couple of years ago, when Bill Cosby came up and said we need to step up, and the Barack said it in the 2008 election, they got chastised. But it's the exact point. I drive a truck, so I'm in and out of Chicago a lot. I'm in and out of New York a lot. And I just look in Atlanta, and I just look and just go, what the fuck are you niggas doing? Why? Why are you doing this? You know this is not going to get you anywhere. It's not. But y'all, you're not bettering yourself. I'll say it on Twitter. I'll get chastised. I tweeted a couple of things to you about it, Ant, especially about the black bus driver. And I was around in my community just going, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? She was jumping off, and y'all want to jump on him because he had to defend himself. And she shouldn't have been like that in the first place. Why are y'all acting like this?
Well, that is the question. Why y'all acting like this is indeed a good question. Because when Whitey shoots up a movie theater or kidnaps a fucking 5-year-old kid, or it's all over the news like, oh, my goodness, how did this happen? Why does it happen? Yet in black communities, hundreds of kids dying on a daily basis in big cities. And it just seems to be looked at like, well, that's what they'll do.
That's the white morality. That's the white morality. White lives are more valuable than black ones, and that's the intelligent group lying to itself about its own arrogance. That's the media. They're mostly 90% white people. They're lying to themselves about how arrogant they are. They really have higher expectations of others like them.
So what is the truth then, Jim? What I've been saying? Is that the truth then? Should they be honest and say, well, look, there is a difference. Diversity does truly mean diverse in every way.
No. Meaning that if they were being totally altruistic, whatever, they would put the same onus on gun crimes in black communities as they do. And again, the kids is a different one. Like if they were black kids that were shot, the country would have been just as outraged. Like right. In a school, little children murdered. That kind of transcends all this stuff. But I mean, the fact that no one talks about Chicago every day with the same outrage as say they do like the Aurora Theater is the arrogance of people believing that when whites do it, it's this shocking anomaly, and when blacks do it, it's to be expected. The point is that it's the arrogance of the people doing the reporting, and they don't even know they're arrogant. They don't even know they're being elitist. So how smart are they when they're lying to themselves about their own goodness? They're lying to themselves.
I think not covering it is ridiculous, but I think it should be covered with honesty.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I gotta stop you there because just last week in Chicago, that girl that performed at the inauguration, 15 years old, honor student, got shot in the back because she was trying to hide from the rain. She was doing absolutely nothing.
Well, you know what? Her being under an awning hiding from the rain while she was hanging out with fucking gang members was probably not too smart on her part. For being a fucking honor student, not very smart on her part to be hanging out with gang members.
From what I read, someone jumped over and just started popping off.
Of course, because there were gang members hanging around her. Jesus Christ.
Either way, the gun violence that's mostly black-on-black violence that goes on in Chicago.
Oh, hell yeah.
The only person I hear speaking out about it is Ant. And whoever really says that Ant's really a racist and is not joking around
has met him.
Goodbye.
I really don't consider myself.
John in Alabama.
I'm just kidding.
John, go ahead.
Hey, guys.
Hey, John.
Hey, man.
I got a question for you, just on a baseline thing. Do you really think that skin pigmentation controls brainwaves?
No.
Well, that's what you're saying when...
No, I'm not. You're talking about fucking... Yeah, no. It's not that simple.
Pigmentation is one more quality of a physical being, just like brainwaves.
I'm talking about an area, a global area, where there are certain people in certain areas of this world that have advantages and disadvantages based on genetics. That's what I believe. I don't have a fucking chalkboard with formulas written on it behind it to prove this. But from the research I've done and everything I've learned over the years, the best assessment I can make of the situation is based on various areas on the globe. Some people have more advantages than others based on intelligence, others based on strength. That's the way it is. Why the fuck is that such an outrageous, outlandish thing to say when we accept that in every other aspect of life on this earth, except in human beings and ourselves, that there could actually be certain groups of people that are less advanced in intelligence, And others that are less advanced in physical prowess than others. Others have better fucking eyesight. I don't know. But why do we have to be so quiet and tiptoe around a theory that might actually be true when it's true in every other aspect of life on this fucking planet?
Well, that kind of is what I was saying. Like that nature's ability, what nature says makes you smart. You're right. Sometimes it is physical prowess because that helps you survive.
But nature does not necessarily fit into civilization. When you then take what nature has to give you to survive and then incorporate it into a civilization, building things, making, being able to adapt to cold or warmer weather based on your technology and intelligence.
Or need to do so. But there's a genuine wonder that humans have or should have that makes you want to invent and explore and travel. There are some people on this globe that are better at that than others. There are some people that are better at building a civilization. Now, you could say that, well, who's to say what's better? Is it somebody that, has buildings and heat and water and plumbing? Or is it a small village where, they don't have any of that stuff, but they care for each other and, they hunt and take care? Based on civilization and advancing the human race, one is more important than the other. It's just the way it is. That's my whole argument. I'm not degrading people. I'm not saying, all I'm doing is presenting a theory based on every other bit of life on this planet that you cannot incorporate into humans or you're a fucking fiend. But you know that the person making the argument is purposely avoiding certain things.
Well, perhaps if the person that wants to make the argument the other way invented a microphone, they'd be able to tell the people too.
No, but you know what I'm saying? The person who's making that argument is painting it brilliantly and making it. But I guarantee you they are skipping sins of the group that they are a part of because they have the agenda is to make this great argument where I wind up on top or close to the top.
Okay.
However, if they're talking about morality, they are never weighing the behavior of themselves and their own group with the same weight as the other groups.
I'm sorry I presented morality as a big part of this. It's part of the entire picture of what we base intelligence and intelligence IQ on. Part of it is your ability to be moral, to
what
know,
is the other part?
To know basic right from wrong. Other parts they see as fertility rate, as the need to reproduce at a rate that far exceeds your abilities, your food, your water, your another thing too.
Wait, how does that explain China? They seem to be a pretty smart country.
Yeah, and
they had a major problem over there.
Well, they did, and then they
people,
calmed
right?
down and said one fucking kid per fucking family.
The government did, yeah. But
the government did.
That wasn't national.
Most people would say that Chinese people are
that
pretty
was
intelligent.
That was
and they got themselves in a hell of a situation because they were having too many kids.
They absolutely are, and look what they did. They said we can't support this population growing this much.
Nope.
So
only a small percentage said that.
The government. Yes.
The government said it. Yes.
If you left it up to the Chinese people, they would still be having a shitload of kids.
But they say that a tyrannical government would indeed have an easier time imposing eugenics on its people.
But again,
I'm just saying,
course.
the Chinese people would continue having kids. They have they were told not to.
If Africa had the same type of government,
be stiff penalties.
It would be a much different thing over there. And then people would look and go, well, they're barbaric government.
And how does that explain white bankers?
Because look at China. As far as their civilization goes, it was amazing thousands of fucking years ago.
Yes.
It's been amazing.
Sure.
They're a very intelligent, creative people.
But they couldn't even control their population. You're making the point. Their population, even they got fucking crazy.
Like I said, it's part of it. You're not getting these absolutes that just because they have the population problem, it means that they're out of this intelligent
we
thing.
all know
It's
they've
part
had a major population problem.
Again, it's
major.
That's part of it.
And what do you think of white bankers? I worry way more about white bankers than an ethnic group in this country. They have done their damage over the years.
Well,
and they're supposed to be these highly intelligent people.
Well, that's
they're fucking all of us over.
That's
no matter what
thing.
color you are.
There's a couple of ways to look at how you're getting fucked.
Well, they were fully aware what they were doing, and that it was going to hurt a lot of families out there.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather have the choice of putting my money in a bank, doing some research and due diligence to see where I'm going to put my money and maybe not get ripped off, than just walk down the street and get a fucking cinder block put over my head for no reason.
I worry way more about the white bankers than getting a cinder block.
I worry about being attacked more by one group and fucking stolen from electronically from the other group.
Exactly.
Right.
There you go.
So the morality is the same.
There you go.
Just different ways of doing it.
Point is, we're all shit. Marshall, Texas, go.
Mr. Marshall.
Hey, the thing is, I'll concede 2 points. Africans have no countries that are worth a shit. I'll give you that one, and I'll give you the IQ thing. But a lot of this research is horseshit. If you delve into it, a lot of this stuff about Africans not having morality and stuff, if you really find sites where they debate it, you can find how they've twisted the meaning of the article to fit their sort of race.
I understand. I'm not agreeing with everything I saw in that presentation. I'm absolutely not. But there are certain things I took away from it that I agree with. There are other things that I completely had refuted by looking at other sides of that argument that were presented from other people with other ideas that I agreed with. And there are other things that, based on history, that I agree with. So believe me, I'm not taking one white supremacist side of this argument.
Well, one more thing I want to say really quick is another thing you don't hear about in the media is, these white bankers that Opie brought up, they never get prosecuted. They never get brought up. These
really?
Escape justice.
Really?
Most of them do.
Well,
read up on this Aaron Swartz stuff, man. It's driving Anonymous crazy. These hacker guys. I mean, there's these guys that have gotten away with robbing the country of a ton of money.
Yep. I worry about those people way the fuck more.
Yeah, and black people get prosecuted when they do their stuff. It's not like they don't get prosecuted by the courts, but these guys go away scot-free. But I agree with some of what you say, Ant, so I'm not totally against you. But anyway, I'll have a good one.
Yeah, I don't think what Ant is saying is ridiculous at all. I don't disagree that some groups are smarter on an IQ scale, because, again, I think that as we develop according to evolution, it's such a small blip on the, like, what sounds like 1,000-year difference or 2,000 years to us. Oh my God! But on an evolutionary scale of a 4 billion-year-old, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
I think people are like trying to read a little too much into what I'm saying, and when I'm saying, and I've said it before, there's just are differences in human beings that cannot be talked about, or you're a bad guy.
They have your past knowledge.
Well, yeah.
That they bring into this discussion. You're in trigonometry class, right? Do you cheat off the Asian kid or the black kid?
Depends on what country I'm in.
We gotta take a break.
If I'm in China, I pick the black kid, because the odds are he's fucking there for a reason.
Homeless hitchhiker. It's an amazing story. We're gonna do that next. Stay there.
The Opie and Anthony Show, Sirius XM. Sirius XM. The Opie and Anthony Show.
I just checked my Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to say bankers, not just white bankers. Those bankers of all fucking...
Well, the white ones are smarter.
Jews. That's what you meant, right?
Like, white bankers, you should be concerned with all bankers.
Oh.
All right, fair enough.
Well, by all bankers, you mean white bankers?
I seem to see many white bankers.
Hold on, let's talk to the Sarge.
Sarge.
He said, you and Opie are so disingenuous. I'm more scared of white bankers. No, you're not, or you wouldn't invest your money. You stay away from neighborhoods you actually are scared of. You do not stay away from white bankers. Stop with the white guilt. Hey, Sarge.
You're a fucking loser.
Like, are you that dumb to think that it's white guilt?
Fuck.
What a dummy. Like, what a dummy.
He makes a point, though, about saying, why would you then put money in an account?
Because here's the point. I took a lot of my money out of the bank.
Yeah, he doesn't know what I do with all my money, first of all, so that's where he's wrong.
It's in Opie's mattress. We all know that.
And second of all, this is going to sound really whatever, but I have lived in black fucking neighborhoods. And then when I got enough money, I decided to just move to safer neighborhoods in general. That's human nature.
Get out of there.
But I'm to the point in my life, I don't worry about black people that much. I just don't. Sorry. For whatever reason.
I put my money in the bank because I don't have to go into black neighborhoods or dangerous neighborhoods. You have to do something with your money. You have to, because you can't just hold it in your house. It's ridiculous. I have to pay taxes on it. The point you're making is a non-point. The way your comparison about me avoiding the neighborhoods, I took a lot of money out of the Bank of America because they're garbage, and I put it where I could invest it in companies and get something back for it. But there's not many options.
He has no idea what we do with our money.
But don't think it's white guilt.
Second of all, when I do go for my dumb bike rides, I do ride up and around Harlem because it's really interesting up there. But I also decided a long time ago not to do that at night.
Ooh.
And I did live in a really, really bad neighborhood in Rochester because the rent was free. And one of our buddies, it was a house owned by the city, and they knew it was such a bad neighborhood. They needed people in the house so it wouldn't be robbed. So this guy who was a friend of ours, a fraternity brother, goes, "Hey, you want to live for free?" And we're all like, "Fuck yeah." We were making no money. And then he explained the situation. Guess what? We went for it anyway. They had bars on the windows and all sorts of security systems. And besides the one all-out race war we had in front of the house where Wally wanted to call Crowbar to take care of the situation, we didn't have many problems.
Well, you were also almost raped by a black man.
No, that was Buffalo. But that was in another bad neighborhood. Yes, I lived in another bad neighborhood because I didn't have the means to get out of the neighborhood. But as soon as I had the means to get out of the bad neighborhood, I did, because that is human nature. But we did have an all-out fucking black versus white fight because we were having a party at the Free House. Oh. And it was brutal. And then Wally came in. He says, I'm going to call Crowbar. He'll take care of the situation.
Crowbar is a good guy to call.
Thank God he didn't get a hold of Crowbar because I can't even imagine what was going to happen. But after that,
Crowbar would have showed up and got knocked out.
But we also realized, the situation was great. Everything was free, no utilities, no fucking rent. But we were aware, like, okay, we're in a place we should not be.
Yeah.
And we did get our asses out of there. But we lived there for a while.
But just for this idiot to write it off as white guilt, that's the irritating part. It's like that's just really not the point at all.
No, because I'm not. I get around. I hear the people. They love to say that a certain group of people are ruining this country. And before I ever go down that road, I would absolutely focus on the bankers first. Yes, that's my point. Yep. Yep, that's my point. Yep, I got a few houses in foreclosure in my family, and I don't think that was a group of people, a race that did that. They overextended, certainly, but a lot of Americans overextended and got themselves in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And the bankers knew the whole fucking time they were taking advantage and knew eventually it was all going to fucking collapse.
I'm more scared of being smacked over the head by a black guy and fucking, my money electronically stolen by a white banker. That's I've said that before. How is that white guilt? Two different fears.
Yeah.
How is that white guilt, cunty Sarge? How can I be more honest than that?
Yeah, when I leave my house, I'm just aware in general. I'm not more aware over a group. I really am not.
I completely am.
Yeah, I know you are. I'm just making a difference. I really am not.
I will look at
everybody.
Me too, with my cock out.
Well, yeah.
Why did I say that?
But you got to play the averages. It's like hitting on fucking 16. You got to play the averages.
Maybe she'll say yes. Maybe she'll say no.
If you're the victim of a crime, it is more than likely it will be a person of color than it will be a white person in New York City. Abso-fucking-lutely.
A violent crime? Absolutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
However, if your life savings turn up missing.
Okay. You're right.
That's a different crime.
You're right.
I'm more physically scared of the crime you're talking about.
Well, I think that has affected way more people.
No.
Fuck yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely not.
Fuck yeah, man.
Nope.
People had their lives destroyed. With that Madoff and all the other ones that were right there with them.
Violent crimes are going on as we speak at a higher rate than bank fraud, I think. That winds up destroying people's lives. I mean, there's credit card fraud going on. Believe me, I get a fucking thing from Amex going, hey, what happened to your credit card here? You look at the bill and realize there's something on there. That's not going to devastate me, or it wouldn't even devastate somebody that makes an average wage because it's taken care of. So that would still qualify as a white-collar crime going down, and you're the victim thereof, but you're not in the hospital with stitches across your fucking head.
I'm talking about the system that's in place in general, not someone like getting your fucking credit card number every once in a while and buying a few things.
Well, that would go in the same kind of white-collar category of robbing you of your money through some type of computer.
We're talking about people.
I'm
talking about my personally.
Bernie Madoff.
People that not even Bernie, lower level guys than him that work for the system and understand the system that they work in and use that to their advantage to kind of fuck other people.
Well,
like
if
that,
it's a legal thing in the system, then
that's legal. Doesn't make it moral.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything.
Right, you're right, but that has to be changed.
Yes,
if it's legal, there's no way beating you over the head is legal.
No, of course not.
That can't be twisted
not legal
around
or
being
moral.
legal.
I think an insider trading is not legal.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
Jim and you live in the ritzy West Side building owned by the Jew. What hypocrites you two are. That's why I'm on Twitter less and less.
But how is that? Hold on. How is that hypocritical when I'm not? I fucking paid for my apartment. How is it hypocritical? I don't understand how that is. Bankers are fucking, by and large, and I'm not talking about the grunts that go to work, but the Bank of America, if you've dealt with them, they're pieces of fucking garbage. They're garbage.
Look at your bank statement.
Terrible.
You don't even get even close to a percentage.
Yeah.
1 percentage point on your money.
But how is it hypocritical? I worked for my money.
And it's not hypocritical. I spent way more years in bad neighborhoods than good neighborhoods in my life.
I've never really lived in that bad neighborhood. I've always been okay.
We had the one ghetto scene in Rochester, but, absolutely a lot of lower middle class places. Absolutely. Almost got raped, man. Just had long hair. Dude thought I was a fucking girl.